Hey, what's up guys? It's Uchiha here, back with a new movie. The name of this movie is What If Naruto Was the First Male? And yeah guys, it's an unscripted movie as well. It kind of came to me when I was, searching for ideas for a movie last night, because I promised I will be uploading one of my own ideas. So yeah, I'm going to upload this one. And it's going to be a harem. A massive harem. And other than that, if you haven't, please leave a like. Then please do and subscribe to my channel as well if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's begin with our story. Our story begins in a different world, but yet similar to that of our hero. It consisted of Konoichis only, and Konoichis repopulated the earth by using a river bestowed upon them by Kami, until the river started to dry after many decades of its usage. And the women started to feel fear that they will go extinct in this world. Until then, Kaguya Otsutsuki came along and bestowed everyone with a futa seal that they used to repopulate, and the population cycle began again. She herself married one of the village leaders, who was a strong Konoichi and a woman, and she bore two daughters from that, Hagoromo and Hamura. As time went by, she ate a fruit accidentally, which caused her to become corrupt and use people for her own gain and to become strong. Her daughters figured it out, and they challenged and defiled their mother. In return, there was a huge battle and clash. At the end, the daughters became victorious and sealed their mother inside a huge crater formed from earth, which was known to be Moon afterwards. And not only that, their mother's pet, Shinju, was also distributed into 9 different beings, the 9-tail. And her husk was, given to Hamura, who took it to the moon, where she will always watch over her mother and the statue. For whoever comes to get it and obtain its power, she will prevent it from happening. Hagoromo became the next sage of the 6th path, as the people like to call her, and bore her own 2 daughters, Indra and Asura. As time went by, she chose Asura for her ninchu and distributed chakra amongst the people so that they could reconnect with each other. But Indra became mad and manipulated by none other than Zetsu, the daughter and will of his grandmother. He didn't know at the time, as she challenged her younger sister as they battled each other out. Indra lost and became enraged. As time went by, both of the sisters formed their own clans, the Uchihas and the Senjus. They battled each other for blood until Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha both joined hands with their friendship, leaving past aside their genocide and hatred for each other and their clan, and formed a village known to be Konohagakure. After seeing them joining alliances, many of the clans joined them, and the village Konohagakure came to being, as many other villages started to pop out as well. Time was at peaceful until Madara betrayed Konoha and Hashirama. She was corrupted by Zetsu again, and Hashirama was able to defeat her in a faraway land, and the land came to be known as the Valley of the End after the battle. Hashirama's wife, Mito Uzumaki, became the first Jinchuriki of Kiwi no Kitsune because Madara was manipulating her as well. Time passed on, and the Hokage passed away, leaving her job to her younger sister Tobirama. She also fell after many years of looking after her and her sister's village, alongside many of the Senjus as well, leaving her granddaughter and her grandnephew and grandniece as well. And time went by until her granddaughter and grandnephew as well died, leaving her grandniece alone until she saw her lover Dan Namaki die in front of her eyes and left the village. At the time Mito has died and passed on the Jinchuriki status to Kushina Uzumaki, the last survivor from Uzushio Gakure. After its destruction, Kushina was moved back to Konoha. There, she was reinstated as a shinobi and fallen in love with one of the girls from Konoha, who was also an orphan, Minato no Mikaze. Minato rose from nothingness to glory as she became the Konoha's Yellow Flash, and Kushina became Red Death of Konoha. Both were S-rank shinobis, and stronger one as well. The shinobi part, well, they like to call them, as there was no difference, though they like to call themselves shinobi. So there is no konoichi concept. Yeah, I'm just going to refer them as shinobi. Please bear with it. Anyway, on to our story. Time passed on, and the day finally came when they married. They were happy. That was the day they lost their virginity. And after some time, they came to know that Kushina was pregnant. And once they checked from hospital, it was 3 babies. Obviously girls, they knew, because there were girls as long as they could remember. Not a single male was born. And time passed on until 11th October came. At the night, she was moved away from the village to keep the village safe because her seal was at the most weakest state. And the birthing process began. At first came out her oldest daughter, which was named as Mito Uzumaki. Then came her second daughter, which was named as Hime Uzumaki Namikaze. Then came her third daughter, which was quite odd because she had a futa seal slapped on her at the time she was born. Her name was going to be Naruto, but after seeing that she had a futa seal, Minato became enraged. She looked at everyone there, including Bibako-sama. Bibako-sama, someone is pranking her. Here, look, my daughter has a futa seal slapped on her. That is quite odd, Minato. Let me see, she said as she examined the child. Her eyes narrowed as she examined the child some more. The parents became quite worried. Bibako-sama, is everything okay? We need Tsunade back. If my theory is correct, then I'm afraid that I believe she is a he. What? But they are only myths, stories that there is no boy ever born. Yes, but he might be the first one. What? Both of the parents said, quite confused and shocked at the statement. But I'm not sure right now. We might need Tsunade back. As she said, she suddenly felt unconscious. The parents became alert as everyone else fell unconscious. She didn't die though, because she was only put in a genjutsu as a masked woman appeared, clapping her hands. Well. Look what do we have here. Konoha's yellow flash and red death together. Oh, you have born some children, I see, she said as she vanished. Both the parents didn't feel when she grabbed Naruto and moved away. Ah, a cute one, I can tell, she said as she looked at the whisker marks. Then her eyes caught a penis in between her legs. As her eyes narrowed, what is a child with futa seal doing? As she activated her Sharingan to see and check if there were any traps and seals. Then her eyes fell. It cannot be. She doesn't have any futa seal, and she has a penis, and there are veins connected to it. I can see it. But how? Unless she is a he. She put the 2 and 2 together as she then chuckled, which was blown into full-blown laughter. Wow, I'm quite surprised to find out that you have born a boy. Maybe the first one ever. I came here to get the Jinchuriki, but I might find something else. Something more precious. Even more precious than the moon I planned, she thought. As she then grabbed the child and said, I will take him with me. Before she could take, Anbuz arrived, alongside with the third Hokage, Hiruzen Saradobi herself, as they were all standing there. As she just, because Kakashi was amongst them, she couldn't use Kamui now, because Kamui dimension was attached to hers, and Kakashi could find her. So she dropped the child in the air and said, I will come find you again. She thought to herself as she then said, until next time, Hokage, I will come and retrieve the child and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki next time, she said with a maniac laughter as she left, leaving Minato and Kushina horrified. As the child was in air, Kakashi jumped as she catched the boy. As she got up, her breast jiggled because she was, quite blessed konoichi in her own right. So could be said for other konoichis as well, as Hiruzen then looked at her wife with sad eyes. Is she okay? Yes, she's in genjutsu, as all of them released a huge chakra burst, relieving the genjutsu as everyone woke up. As Biwako then said, Hiruzen-chan, what is going on? Biwako-chan, you're okay. Yes, but as she then gasped and said, "That child, he's he's a boy." What? Everyone else became quite surprised at the statement. Are you sure? Yes, but we need Tsunade to make certain assumptions. If my theory is correct, then she is a he. This calls for a council meeting because that child might be the first boy if that assumption comes true, Biwako-chan. And he might be more precious than our Jinchuriki now, because many of the villages found out they will be after him. As all of them nodded, on the outside of the village, far, far away, a Konomichi, or shinobi as people like to say it in their world, with white hair and green dressing with red coat and wooden sandals, similar to that of samurais, was peeping at women. Come on, she said, giggling, as she was suddenly poofed away, as her, binoculars fell. She was at the Mount Miyaboku, in front of the elder great toad and the two toad sages. Jiraiya-chan, you know that we summoned you here for a reason, right? And what are you doing? Some research. You and your research. Sometimes we wonder why we chose you. Because you all love me, didn't you? Yes. Now, come on, follow us, little girl, because Great Toad Sage wants to speak. Gamamaru-sama is quite cranky now, because she just received a prophecy from Kami herself, as she liked to call it, and she's wide awake. What? That's quite a surprise. The old coot never woke up when I was around, and when she gave me the prophecy before that a child will be born from my student, and she will bring the peace in this elemental nation. As both lictors nodded, as they hopped on to her shoulders as they entered the palace of Kamamaru-sama. As Kamamaru was awake, quite worried, as she looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya-chan, you're here. That is quite surprised. She remembers my name, she thought to herself in shock. As Kamamaru then spoke, Kami spoke to me in my dream. She said a child, mainly a boy, is born. She gave me a prophecy that the boy will be the one you should train. He is bestowed upon by chakra and the power and Kekkei of those who were known as Kami no Shinobi. As Shira's jaw dropped, as well as her book and pencil. Is this the truth? A boy is born? Yes. And he is the child of prophecy who will bring peace and love to our nation. He is to be our summoner, Jiraiya. We might have to share him, but we will get to be his first summoners. Yeah, don't worry, Gamamaru-sama. I'll get the first dibs on him. You don't have to worry about it. I believe the slugs have been informed as well. You must leave now, Jiraiya. Hurry. The snakes and the other summons will be informed shortly because Kami-sama have informed me that she will inform others. Now leave. Hi, I will leave as soon as I can. On the other side, on another town, there were two women traveling, one with a big bust and blonde hair, with a diamond mark on her forehead, with honeycomb eyes. She was Tsunade Senju, the last Senju and the greatest medic and shinobi in the world. Following her was her apprentice, Dan last niece, Shizune Kato. In her arms were Tonton, her pet pig. As they were traveling, until they were reverse summoned, both of them, to the realm of summoning in Slugs Island, where they saw Katsuyu-sama sitting. Katsuyu-sama, why did you summon me? Tsunade asked. Tsunade-sama, we have received a prophecy. A prophecy? That's quite surprising. I thought it was a department for toads and snakes, she joked. Well, it is quite serious, Tsunade-sama. You see, Kami herself told us about this. The world is in a great rift and change. What is this prophecy that you are talking about then? She informed what Kamamaru informed Jiraiya. She was quite intrigued and shocked. And then a monkey arrived there. What can I do for you, Monkey Enma? Asked Katsuyu-sama. We want to give this to your summoner. As he looked towards Tsunade, who was standing there. Well, my job is easy. Here, it's from Hiruzen. She wants you to come back to the village as soon as possible. Well, I was planning to. As she opened the scroll and read it, her eyes became wide. What is it, Tsunade-sama? It seems we have to move back to village. Now. Katsui-sama, can you reverse summon back us to Konoha? Yes. On another side, in Rice Country, underground basement, a new village was emerging by the hands of a shinobi known as Orochimaru. She was a cunning Konoichi, the traitor, student of Hiruzen Sarutobi herself, the one of the legendary Sanin. As she was now resting on her throne until she was poofed in a smoke, summoned to the cave of the snakes where Manda was waiting. Manda, why have you summoned me? Orochimaru, silence. I have received a prophecy. What? You never received prophecy. Well, it was like Kami informed everyone of the summon realm and their bosses. Our elder had died, so she informed me. What is this prophecy about then? You see, Manda told everything she heard from Kami to her summoner, Orochimaru, as well. After hearing this, her eyes widened and then there was a gleam. You mean to tell me there is a boy born in my village? You said the village part in this den. Yes, the first male ever. And we want him to be our summoner as well because he is destined for greatness in the future. To bring peace and love in this world. That is quite interesting. Plus, I have to see how a male specimen looks with my own eyes. Maybe I could get his DNA and create my own. No, Orochimaru, I know what you're thinking. Don't even try it, Manda said with narrowed eyes, because if he is ever hurt, Kami will encourage her wrath on us and we don't want it. Last thing we want is because of your stupidity Kami became enraged because she has blessed us with a boy after God knows how long. As long as we can remember, there hasn't been a boy born. He's the first one. And we have to be careful because from him is the key that there might be boys in the future. I see, then I will have to get him for myself and then have children with him so that I can get sample on the boy. I don't care what you do with your children, but he must not be harmed. Okay, fine, I promise. You have my word. I won't harm the child, but I will get him if I can. Yes, we want you to return to the village, even if sneakingly, and give him our summoning contract when he comes of the age. Now go. Orochimaru left. As Hiruzen was already informed by Monkey Queen Enma, of the situation that was happening, as she also received the prophecy before she was sent to Katsuyu. Now we go back to Konoha, inside the council chambers, as two of the Sanins appeared outside the Konoha as they were rushing inside as well. Well, why did you call us, Okage-sama? Asked Mibuki Harano, the head of the civilian council clan, as the clan elders were also there and clan heads as well, alongside with the elders of the village. As Hiruzen then said, alongside his wife and their 3 children, something happened when my wife gave birth to our 3 children. There were many congratulations as Minato silenced them. 2 of the girls were normal born, but the 3rd one we are not sure because many of the elders and Biwako-sama think that she might be a he, the first boy ever born. As Danzo's eyes widened alongside the elders who didn't knew, and the civilian council as well, alongside the shinobi and their elders. What? It cannot be. There hasn't been a male born. There are only myths known to be in stories. Yes, we have seen and read some stories and pictures, but never seen a male before. You both can check if you want to, Hiyashi, Fugaku, as both of them moved forward. Both of them looked through, activating their dojutsu at Naruto, as her eyes widened and gasped. They are telling the truth. This is a boy, and the penis he has is natural. He can reproduce as well naturally. And from the looks of it, his vitals are normal. All of them. Hiyashi said, with quite surprised. She was a beautiful woman with black hair and white pale eyes. This is quite interesting, Fugaku thought to herself as she said, yes, this is truth. He's a boy, as there were more gaps heard, until both of the Sonic bursted through the door. As everyone looked towards them, Jiraiya, Tsunade, what are you doing here? Good thing that you're here, Tsunade, we needed you. I know. I was informed by Katsuyu-sama. Me too as well, I was informed by Gamamaru-sama. What? Minato said, Sensei. What do you mean Gamamaru-sama? He's always asleep. Well, Gaki, he was more than awake when I arrived. He informed me that you born a boy, and he is the child of prophecy that is sent by Kami herself to him. What? Everyone else said. As Hirudena spoke, yes, my student is telling the truth. I was also informed by Monkey King Enma. Why didn't you tell us, Hiruzen? Well, I was going to, but my student beat me to it, she said with a chuckle. As Mibuki then asked, what is this prophecy, Jiraiya-sama? Jiraiya told them the prophecy. They all became quite surprised. This boy will bring them happiness and peace to their world. He could use chakra and the power of one known as Kami no Shinobi. As they all turned towards Hiruzen, what? I was not the only one known as that. The only one other than me known as that was, as their eyes widened, Hashirama-sensei. Danzo's eyes narrowed as she threw a kunai at the child, and something surprising happened as everyone's eyes narrowed at Danzo because what she was doing. Wood started to appear from everywhere from ground, erupting and protecting the child, as the kunai was embedded in the wood. As Minato's eyes narrowed, Danzo, what the hell do you think you're doing? Are you crazy, woman? No, Hokage-sama. My theory is correct. He has the Kekigenkai of our Shodai Hokage. As everyone was now in more shock, the clan heads were thinking of way to achieve this boy's power, but they thought that they might take him for themselves, and their wives wouldn't mind, as their daughters were there as well for marriage if their parents didn't agree to that. As both Kushina and Minato then thought, well, we also need to repopulate the Uzumaki clan. He's a boy and not an heir, so what if both of my daughters? No, that can't be. But he didn't knew that, well, how right his assumptions were in the future. So what should we do with him? Asked one of the elder, namely Kuharu. He should be protected, and the other villages cannot know of him and his existence, because if they find out, then they might go on all-out war with us just to achieve him. Because if our summons have this stream, then there might have as well. Yes, Kami told us that every summoner will be informed of his existence. And that did happen. In each of the village, Kami delivered this message and their summoner was informed. As their summoner informed the Hokage, who was skeptical at first, but when told that it was a prophecy by Kami herself, they became quite surprised and intrigued. They didn't knew of the location of the boy, but they sent out search parties to look out in other villages and minor villages as well. Because if the story was true, then they would need the boy, because he's the most precious item right now in their eyes to repopulate their village and become strong, as there will be more males in the future. Plus, they wanted to look strong and quite powerful in eyes of the other villages as well, because they will be the one to have the first male ever inside them. They didn't care about the child's mother. They did just want to achieve him harmlessly as possible. All of the villagers sent out the search parties. Konoha was on high alert after the meeting, as everyone inside the village, mainly those who were not spies, because they were found out and picked out by the Anpu, were informed of this. And the village was on a lockdown. Nobody was allowed in or out for 2 months. Everyone was happy to learn that they were the one and to have the first child, and it was a child of none other than their Hokage, the strongest of them, and the red hot-blooded habanero. Time went by, and the child started to grow, and his features started to show as well. He really was a boy, different from them. there were custom clothes made for him, obviously because he was the first male, and the tailor was more than happy for him. Something interesting was happening as many of the clan heads would send their daughters at their house to play and bond with him. Naruto became friends with all of them, and even his anbus were happy to watch him because he was the most happiest child. Just being near him or seeing his smile would melt your heart and all of the darkness inside. Even Kakashi was out of her depression of losing her teammate, both of them. She was now happy and once again back to her normal routine as being a vigilant shinobi because her duty was to protect, alongside her squad, Naruto and her senseless other children. Meanwhile, Naruto's sister, both Mito and Hime Uzumaki, stuck to Naruto like glue. They loved him to death. He was their little brother and they adored him more than anything in the world. When their parents found out that both of the girls loved Naruto and wanted to marry him when they grew up, they wholeheartedly agreed to that. Why? Because they loved him themselves. They started to develop feelings for him when they started to watch him grow up. His smile will erase any worry from them and made their world cheer up and light up. He cared for them. They developed some blush on their face whenever he touched them. Their body was on fire and they had strong feelings for him. Same could be said for rest of the women population in Konohagakure, which was almost all of it. Wherever Naruto went, his smile will bring lights and joy to others' heart and lighten up their day. Same could be said for his friends as well. That is why they stuck so much close to him. They were mainly clan heads' children and civilian council leader Mabuki Haruno's daughter, which was Sakura Haruno. They visited him every day and played with him as their daughter stuck to him, as all of the parents held councils almost every day alongside the civilian ones as they watched through Sarutobi's globe what was their children doing, and they were surprised when they figured out that suddenly Hime was the first one to kiss Naruto all of a sudden, claiming that she loved Naruto and now he was hers. Naruto blushed at that and his mind shut down until his older sister Mito grabbed him and kissed him as well and started to yell at Hime how she loved him as well and both of them are sisters and they should share. And suddenly the clan had saw their daughters showing emotions of different kind, rage, horror, and shock, as all of them rushed towards Naruto with determination in their eyes and all of them kissed Naruto as well. The parents felt a pang in their heart seeing Naruto like this. They found him cute, but they also wanted to do that as well. The last one was Kiba Inuzuka, daughter of Tazumi Inuzuka, as she watched, with quite surprised that Kiba was the first one to, shove her hand down his pants as she whistled. Ada, daughter, as she took down Naruto's pen and all glory Naruto's penis stood 8 inches long. I'm sorry for saying inappropriate words for those who are listening, but yeah, it kind of is a little bit, romantic slash sexual story. There is not going to be any sex scene, but there is going to be a little bit of, fan service, as almost everyone who was present in council chamber and at the ground at which they were playing, eyes widened alongside the Anbus who were watching this. They were all blushing. He's big, they all thought. And Naruto finally covered his, manhood and ran away with tears in his eyes. As everyone glared at Kiba, I'm going to beat that girl when she comes home because she broke that boy's heart, said Tazumi, as everyone nodded at that. Kiba received a spanking when she came home because she was surprised herself as she, grabbed it. Naruto was in his room crying at that night when Tazumi and Kiba came at the night to visit him. And when Kiba arrived at the doorstep, both of the sisters glared at her. You, what are you doing here? Because of you, Naruto isn't coming out of his room. I know, girls, she's here to apologize, Tazumi said. I'm sorry for her rude behavior. Don't be. It's okay. She was quite, straightforward, if I might say, Kushina said, with a twitch in her eyebrow because she too loved Naruto more than a son. And Minato nodded wholeheartedly with a frown. As all of them went to his door, as Naruto then was crying from the other side as they all heard his sniffles. As Kiba then knocked, "Naruto? It's me, Kiba. Can you open up, please?" As Naruto didn't say anything. After what seemed like 3 minutes, Naruto opened the door, and he then said, What is it, Kiba?" As she then started to cry openly, as Naruto became confused and was, shocked. He didn't want to see her cry, so he said, "It's okay. I know it wasn't your fault. You just wanted to kiss, right?" "Yes, Naruto. I love you as well, and I don't know what came over me, because I think of my clan's instinct. That is why I did that. I'm sorry. I won't do it again if you don't want me to," she said, as almost all of the girls nodded. "Yes, Kiba is sorry for what she did, Naruto," said Tazumi, as she then said, "Well, little man, I apologize on her behalf as well," she said. "You're welcome to join us anytime you want," she said as she kissed Naruto's forehead, much to irritation of Kushina and Minato. As she then winked, Naruto blushed at that, as he touched where she kissed. Hi, ma'am," Naruto said, as she and her daughter left, and Naruto enjoyed dinner with his family. Time skip. Naruto had grown along the time skip with rest of the clan heads and his village. He was known as the prince of the village now, and many of the, spies who were inside the village didn't want to report him at first and keep him for themselves, but they knew they had a duty, and they did report back to their villages. Now, there were quite interesting reactions. Almost all of the leaders yelled at that, and when they saw the picture of the boy smiling, their heart melted, all of theirs. And they wanted the boy for themselves now, except for Oniki, because she's old. I don't want that. Ugh, that will be quite disgusting. She wanted him for her granddaughter and her daughter, Kisuchi and Kuretsuchi, obviously, and to repopulate Iwagakure, even if he was the son of a rival and the most hated woman on their village. Once the news was released and alongside with his picture to the whole population of the villages, they cheered that the first male was born, and not only that, they were quite surprised that he was in Konoha and was the son of, Konoha's Yellow Flash. Iwa was enraged by this, but they didn't matter. They said they will punish Yellow Flash by taking her son and using him for breeding and keeping him here for themselves. And same could be said for the other villages, as they all sent some teams after Naruto after that, mainly because of his Kakegenka, and consciously Naruto almost defended him every time himself whenever the attack happened. And he came out safe, much to everyone's surprise, and the Anbus, tortured them who were captured to death almost, and sent them back to the village because they didn't want to start a war. And it was finally time for Naruto to enter the academy. He was 9 years old and he has already trained and came far. He was a mid-Ganin level ninja already, alongside with his sisters, who was quite close to him. When Naruto entered the academy, he was quite surprised that everyone was there to welcome him and seeing him with a smile, as Naruto smiled and waved at them all with the brightest smile he could flash, much to irritation of his sisters because they wanted that smile for themselves, alongside his friends who were circling around him in a protective manner. As Naruto entered a class, much to the dismay of the teacher because she was quite, in confusion and tension because her student was going to be the first male, and not only that, she wanted to look good in his eyes. Same could be said for her assistant teacher, which was Mizuki, as Iruka and Mizuki were frantically looking at mirrors and rearranging themselves to look good. As Naruto opened the door, he smiled at them, and their heart melted as their blush came to them full force as they stuttered, "Hello, Naruto. My name is Iruka Yumino, and I will be your sensei throughout the whole course of the academy," as Mizuki introduced herself as well. As Naruto cheerfully introduced himself, as his sisters came and took Naruto and sat on a table, much to the groaning of the other girls in his class. As then their journey began to become a strong shinobi. And time passed, and there were ups and downs in the class. Naruto always came at first. He was vigilant and happy to learn. He always helped those who were in need, and luckily, the last of the class was that person who had the average marks at least of 50%. Rest of them were above 50 at least. So there was no dead last, at least in his class. Iruka was happy with that, and so could be said for Mizuki. Because Naruto was quite a motivation, as Naruto himself was quite a strong shinobi. And when the time came, they all graduated. There was zero rate of failure in her class, and she was quite sad that she had to see Naruto go. "Well, Naruto, here's your headband," she said, as both Mizuki and Iruka looked sad at her leaving. As Naruto then said, rushing towards her and giving her a hug, both of them, and kissing them both on the cheek. "Thank you, senseis, because of you I can become a strong shinobi," she said as Naruto flashed them a smile and left the room, leaving both dazed Konomichis, who then passed out because of the blood rushing out of their noses, and the kiss. They weren't going to wash that side of their face for God knows how long. And Naruto rushed at his family, happy that he got the headband. His family was happy as well. And what happened next surprised most of them, but they got over it because they knew the Hokage and his wife also loved Naruto more than a son, likely, as Naruto kissed his sisters and his mother's on lips and tongue wrestled them as well, as all of them went to Ichiraku Ramen. Time skip. It was time for their sensei's introduction, as one by one senseis came and took their teams, much to their grounding because Naruto was not in their team. Their team consisted of Sayuri Uchiha and Sakura Haruno and Naruto Uzumaki, and their sensei was none other than a strong Konoichi and shinobi known as Kakashi Hatake. Naruto was happy to see that his older sister will be his sensei, as she arrived on time as well and took her team. Mito and, well, Hime were quite mad at this, and reluctantly their parents as well, because they couldn't place and show favoritism, even if it was their son. It pained their heart to see this, but then they did something incredible. Minato took Mito and Kushina took Hime as their apprentices. Why? Well, obviously because they were clan heads, and both of them wanted to train them personally and put them on reserve shinobi. They will be working with teams on regulations. The daughters became happy with this, and Naruto was quite sad, but he didn't fret on it because he was being trained by his sister, who was a strong Anbu and Konoichi in his right. It was time for introduction, as Kakashi sat on the rooftop as the team arrived. "Well, you guys are here. Now, why don't you introduce yourself?" As she pointed at the pink-haired girl. "Why don't you go first, Pinky?" Sakura then growled, "My name is Sakura Haruno, and my likes are..." She looked at Naruto and giggled. "And I want to be in the future." She looked at Naruto and giggled. "And my dream is..." She looked at Naruto and giggled again. As Kakashi then said with a sigh, "Oh boy, a fangirl." As Sayuri glared at her, her Sharingan came to life, just with hatred for her teammate. Her Sharingan then morphed with two Tomos, which caused Kakashi to be in shock because it was quite surprising to see this phenomenon. As Naruto then said, "I guess it's my turn then. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. My likes are my family and my precious people," he said, referring to his friends and those who were close to him, as almost all of the girls blushed when he smiled so brightly, even Kakashi herself. And then he said, "My dream is to become so strong and become the first male Hokage," he said with determination, as all of them nodded. "Yes, you will become strong, Naruto. No matter if he even asked. I don't know, maybe even we all might agree to him being Hokage right now." Heck, even asked for all of the elemental nations to be under him. We might all agree, because he's just so precious with his smile. But we all know that Naruto is not a person like that. He's the most sweetest and cutest kid I ever have seen, he said with a smile. As then Naruto, next thing she knew, was in front of her face, and then she said, "Nay, Kakashi, Nei-chan, why didn't you show your face?" "Well, Naruto, it's a secret," she said with a wink, as Naruto then pouted. As then she hugged Naruto into her ample chest, as Naruto groaned as she giggled. "Well, you go ahead," as both of the students were now twitching their eyebrows angrily, as Sayuri already had her third tomo in her eye, and was spinning rapidly in anger because Naruto was rather enjoying himself as well in the hug she has seen, as she looked down on her chest. "Damn it, maybe in few years, then Naruto will enjoy my hugs as well," she thought. As Sakura was, well, obviously disheartened at this because she was flat as a board. "Oh man, sometimes I wish my chest will grow out. Maybe in future, yes, I will. Ja, it will grow out and Naruto will look at us then," her inner voice said, as then Naruto then got out of the hug and kissed her on the cheek, as Kakashi blushed behind her mask and giggled. "Now go on, young man, sit there and let your other teammate finish her introduction," as Naruto looked at Sayuri apologetically, much to everyone's surprise as Sayuri flinched. "Sorry, Sayuri-chan, I didn't mean to. You can go ahead and say your introduction. I won't bother you, I promise." After hearing these words, Sayuri was blushing like mad as she said, "No worries, Naruto-kun. I will just introduce myself." "But I'm sorry, I stopped the introduction. Is there anything I can do to make up to you?" "Well, you can kiss me." "Huh? What?" "You can kiss me. Again. Last time I was the one who kissed you when we were kids and told you that I loved you along with the rest of us. You have to kiss me again, this time on your own." As Naruto was now deep in thought, as there was a blush on his face, which caused the other girls to blush and looked angrily at her. As then Kakashi then, "Now, Broody, just introduce yourself hurriedly and we can all leave," she said with an enthusiasm in her voice on the word leave. As Sayuri then gritted her teeth and said, "My name is Sayuri Uchiha. My likes are Naruto. I want to be his pride in the future. I don't like other hussies hogging over him. And he will be mine in the future. Because I'm his pride and no one can take him. And my dream, well, I told you already. My likes Naruto and tomatoes and my family and my big sister, nothing else. I hate everything else," she said as she finished her introduction. As Naruto was looking still at her with blush, as she looked at him and then blushed and looked away. As Kakashi then cleared her throat as it got everyone's attention and Naruto out of his stupor. As she said once more, "Well, that will be enough. You can all go," as she didn't went away, waiting for her Genins to go away. "Well, we will go away now, sensei." As Sakura then said, "Nay, Naruto-kun, wanna go on a date?" "Eh? Sakura-chan, you too as well?" "Yes, I'm not going to fall behind. If Sayuri is making her move, so will I." Go away, hussy. He's mine." "Nuh-uh. We all formed an alliance to share him, remember?" "Share him?" So Kakashi thought, maybe I can join that as well. Once he grew up, obviously. God knows how I'm restricting myself now. He's just so cute, I want to eat him up," she said as she sunshined away in a leaf sunshin, leaving the gun in front. As Sayuri took her chance and kissed Naruto on the lips once more, and forcing her tongue into his, and Naruto eased in the kiss again because he was now returning her feelings. Sayuri was happy as she moaned in the kiss. After breaking the kiss, both of them panted heavily, as he then looked towards Sakura and kissed her. Sakura was shocked and then leaned into the kiss as well. After the kiss was done, both of them hugged Naruto and glommed him down. And after the hour passed, all of them left with huge blushes on their faces to their homes. Time went by as the next day came, and so came their bell test as Kakashi informed them. And as Naruto was about to charge in on her, alongside with his, girlfriends now, much to distaste of Kakashi when she saw both of them clumping on her Naruto from above. She jumped down instantly and, well, got them on their heels. She has already informed about both of Naruto's teammates to his mother, and both of them were not happy alongside the council. And, surprisingly, the mothers of the said daughters were happy, but the rest of the council wasn't, because they were hogging their Naruto-kun to themselves. Ibuki also thought about that, but didn't want to fret, and so could be said for Fugaku. She also developed some feelings for the boy, and not to mention her wife Mikoto and her elder daughter, Itachi as well, had developed some feelings. Time skip. The bell test passed, and Naruto was tied. Well, Naruto, you didn't get the bell, but they did, as both of the girls were glaring at Kakashi, and they looked at Naruto. Well, Naruto, you can have our bell, said both of them in unison as they glared at each other. As Kakashi sighed and said, you passed, but Naruto, because of your irrationalness, you will be tied and you will not be given any food until I return, she said. If you obey to me, I will give you a present, she said, with a wink as she left, with an eye smile. As both of the girls took this as a chance and feeded Naruto some of their food, as Kakashi jumped. How could you? How could you do this when I told you not to? And I already passed you. Well, we didn't want him to be hungry. As Kakashi's eyes formed from shock to an eye smile. Well, you all have shown me that you are good teams and comrades. Remember, in Shinobi World, those who fail a mission are called trash, but those who fail their comrades are worse than trash. They all said. They all looked seriously at that, as nodded at Kakashi. Kakashi also eye smiled and said, good, now I will have to inform Hokage-sama about your report. Jane and Naruto, how could you? I thought you wanted my present. Well, Kakashi-ne-chan, you can always give me that later, Naruto said, as she eye smiled and winked at him. Right, as she went away to inform the Hokage. Inside the council chamber, rest of the Jonins were there as Kakashi arrived. Now that Kakashi is here, why don't we begin? As the team placements and their passing grade went as in canon until Kakashi's turn came. Well, Kakashi, what is your verdict? Well, Sensei, Naruto was irrational, but he and his team did pass. He became a quite good diversion. They already had planned out, and the girls listened to him, mainly his girlfriends. Kakashi said girlfriends worked with venom, as everyone else flinched. And then their eyes narrowed. You can't be serious. Both of their girls are moving quite fast, don't you think? Minato asked as all of them nodded. I have to talk to Kushi-chan, as Kushin arrived. You don't need to, Tebane. I already heard, as both of the daughters were already there with their mother, and a scowl on their face. So, what are we going to do, mother? Are we going to tie Naruto at home, so that he could forever stay there, or are we going to kill them for hogging over Naruto? We all formed an alliance to share him, right? They should remember that, ne? Hime said, as Mito agreed. As Minato then sighed, no girls, we're not going to kill anyone or start a war. Your brother is loved by all of us, and he has chosen them as his first girlfriends. That doesn't mean that stops us to join that as well. All of them smirked and nodded. Time went by and the next game came and their Genin days began doing D-rank missions. Naruto and his team was mostly given 800 D-rank missions. Why? Well, obviously to keep him inside the village and not to take him outside because they didn't want him yet to venture outside of the village safe walls. And the whole council wholeheartedly agreed to this, even the elders and Danzo. Danzo's root always watched Naruto wherever he went. Even though they were devoid of emotions, their emotions returned whenever they watched Naruto. And for that, they all called Naruto their sanctuary, their light in this dark world, and in this darkness of their own. Sai was the most daring one of the Anbu leaders, as she jumped down and kissed Naruto, removing her mask, much to Naruto's amazement, as she then blushed and said, I love you. And I want you to be my boyfriend. Much to the shock of other, maskless Anbus, and the Anbus of Hokage, when it was informed that Danzo's root was alive and She was asked why her root was alive. She told that because of Naruto, to protect him. Everyone agreed and let her root once again work and do the dirty work and protect Naruto and killing of anyone who kept from outer village who ever tried to harm or take Naruto away from them. He was more than an asset. He was theirs. Forever will be. That was their motto. Their will of fire was to protect Naruto now. Surprisingly. As Naruto grew, he became more manly and still innocent. With his childness, he still had his heartwarming smile, which can lift even the darkest of hearts. He met with Jiraiya, who, took him to bed instantly and was the reason why he lost his virginity and his innocence as well. Well, let's just say the whole Konoha played cat and mouse with Jiraiya that day and beated her to a bloody pulp. And surprisingly, Jiraiya was the first one to get pregnant, even after sleeping with Naruto only once. And twins were born. One was a girl and one was a boy. Both were named after the parents' consultant. Well, guys, I'm not going to name the children because I have to come up with a lot of names in this series and I obviously don't want to. So yeah, let's just say one son and daughter. That's it, okay? Anyway, moving on to the story. When they saw that a child was born, but they didn't feel any attraction like that towards that said child that like they felt towards Naruto. That was quite intriguing to them. And then Chunin exams happened. Naruto didn't went out the village. The Wave country was helped out by the Anbus and Root Anbus as well, because Naruto wanted them to help and wanted to go himself, and that earned them an alliance with Wave and other minor countries in which Naruto went, as he bothered them to, let him go and his team, as he successfully returned from many C-rank missions as well after that. So the time came for Chunin exams, as Naruto and rest of the Genins accepted. As they entered the room in which the Genins were standing from other villages, everyone from other village looked at Naruto with wide eyes. Is that? It is the boy. It has to be. As Naruto smiled sheepishly and waved at them. Hello everyone. Name's Naruto. Nice to meet you all. I hope we play fair, Naruto said, as which caused everyone to blush. As Ibiki entered, and their first test began, as everything went as in canon, until Anko came, and once she came in, she rushed towards Naruto and glomped him in her ample chest. As Naruto groaned, "Nay, Anko Nei-chan, stop doing this whenever you meet me." Oh, is little Gaki trying to say that she doesn't love me anymore? I'm a he, remember, I'm a boy. Oops, tongue slip. I always so used to say she that it kind of got stuck to me, Gaki. Don't worry, I know who you are. And then everyone's eyes widened as Naruto kissed her on the lips. As Anko blushed a little bit. Nay, Gaki, I told you not to do that in front of everyone. As Naruto let out his tongue. Nay, Anko-chan, when you tease me, I have a right to tease you back, right? As he then jumped down and left Anko dazed. As everyone glared at her, and she chuckled sheepishly. Meet me at the training ground 44, as she poofed away. As everyone arrived there, and their second test began after explanation, Naruto and his team rushed, alongside his sisters who were also rushing alongside them. As they defeated many teams who wanted to rape Naruto, mainly by girls, as Naruto just stood there with a confused look on his face, as they encountered Orochimaru then. It was quite terrifying for the girls to see him, as there was a huge amount of killer intent leaking out of him, as he stepped out from the trees after throwing the Genins into different locations with the help of his snakes. Well. I have an Uchiha and a boy here, she said as she licked her lips. She was now in her original form. She had bust similar to that of Tsunade. Her body was like an hourglass. As she glared with her snake-like eyes and licked her lips with snake-like tongue and looked at Naruto. Naruto honestly thought that she was quite exotic and interesting, as Naruto then chuckled sheepishly as she moved in front of him in an instant. As she picked up Naruto and kissed him, surprisingly as Naruto blushed. as everyone who was in the vicinity, mainly the girls, they were quite surprised by this, as their face showed horror and then anger at the said person. How dare she, even if she is a Sanin, how dare she? Sasuke's eyes morphed once again. Sorry, Sayuri, I forgot that she's a girl in this one. Sayuri's eyes morphed again into her three-toma Sharingan, and then it flickered. And it flickered again after seeing this cursed image. And then it happened. She had so much hatred after seeing this accursed image that her Mangekyo awakened. As she then yelled, Hamaterus! As the body started to burn with black flames as she dropped Naruto down. As she opened her mouth as another Orochimaru stepped out. Now, it is not a way to treat me like that, kid. I was just greeting my future husband. He's ours, he's not yours. We were the first one to get dibs on him. As then Jiraiya arrived with angry look on her face, alongside with many of the shinobis, and Tsunade as well, who was heavily pregnant with Naruto's kids because she was the second one to sleep with him. As Jiraiya then said, How dare you? As Tsunade finished, to do that to our husband, traitor. You have no right to do that to him. As Orochimaru chuckled, I see you have slept with him already, but I will be the next one. Get back in line, Minato said. We all are waiting. As Naruto blushed and passed out with nosebleed after hearing that from his own mother. As time skipped, Orochimaru, was captured, and she, kind of negotiated with them and came to a conclusion that she will be reinstated back in Konoha and become loyal if she is married to Naruto. And she told them her plan. And, Suna was also quite mad at Orochimaru after the revelation that their Kazekage was dead by her and she was impersonating as their Kazekage. And the kids were relieved, and Kankuro was made the next Kazekage. The cat girl was quite surprised by this, but her sister was her advisor, her big sister, as Gaara didn't want to leave Naruto, as she always stuck to him. Whenever and wherever he was, she was there. She then kissed Naruto and fell asleep near him. She saw Naruto as her sanctuary, which was quite surprising to everyone. Shikaku was calm near Naruto, and so was Gaara. Both of the girls, one Biju and one Jinchuriki, slept peacefully. Shikaku installed her seal and Gaara in real life, near Naruto, hugging him like a pillow. Naruto then woke up was quite surprised as Gaara's face blushed. Naruto then said it was okay, and then Biju took over and kissed Naruto and, raped him. Everyone was quite mad at this in Konoha when they heard that, Suna's Jinchuriki raped their, prince. And then Suna offered an apology and married Temari and alongside with Gaara as well to Naruto. And Naruto agreed. And the other girls joined the band and their parents rushed as well. All of them married to Naruto. Naruto was the first male and, he was married to many Konomichis, lining up to hundreds, maybe 1,000. Naruto slept with them once and rendered them pregnant after that. It was quite surprising to see this. And time went by. He slept with Orochimaru as well, and surprisingly, she bore 3 triplets. And 2 of them were sons of her and 1 daughter. She didn't want to put a needle in them, and whenever a nurse tried to, she became enraged. She let go for experiment and hatred. She loved her children and mainly her husband. And time went by. Came the time for Tobi to act again. She wanted Naruto, and she knew she couldn't get it because he was now famous, and the villages were forming alliance with Konoha, so she declared war on everyone to get Naruto. And Biju's obviously. When Zetsu got the news of it, she talked telepathically to her mother, like her mother informed her of this plan telepathically. Her mother was so happy to know that the prophecy has come true. She broke the moon. The seal was broken. The moon burst away in millions of pieces as she rushed down. As she arrived in Konoha, everyone, mainly the shinobi, alongside with Naruto, was alerted as all of them arrived. As she then saw Naruto, her, heart fluttered after seeing him. She contacted the Otsutsuki clan, telepathically as well, as what seemed like minutes, all of them arrived. Ishiki, Momoshiki, their queen, and Boroshiki as well, as all of them saw Naruto. All of them felt a connection to him. Their hearts fluttered as their cheeks blushed, as all of them rushed and kissed him and passed him around, as they all then said, alongside with Kaguya, "You are our king. We will always listen to you and leave this world alone, our king. For we ask one thing in return. What is it?" Naruto asked hesitantly after being kissed and tossed around by the strong women. They had such strong chakra that everyone, almost all of them, felt. And, Zetsu was there as well. She didn't want it to hurt Naruto. But once she arrived, she kissed him as well, more intensely, as she winked at him. And Naruto shuddered, but blushed as well. As Naruto asked what was it, as almost every one of the Otsutsuki girls said, "You have to be our king and marry us all." Naruto groaned and married them as well. Naruto was getting tired of this. He was receiving marriage from almost everyone in the elemental nations. He didn't have the heart to, let a woman cry. He was just not like that, so he married them all. Thankfully for Kami, he had enough stamina to satisfy all of them and not get tired or, die from it. He became a beast, but he still kept his innocence in touch. He all loved them equally, and the hatred was lifted. And the Otsutsuki clan was freed and was under him. Many males were born, but Naruto was, the most loved one out of them all. Even his own children loved him, and whatever he said, they took it to heart and listened to it. They became strong shinobis, but they didn't fought. They all sparred, and the Chunin exams were more like a contest now. They all sparred in it and participated, but never hurt each other. Naruto was loved until the day he died, and his children forever remembered him as his stone statue was built. For everyone to remember, it has been a million years since his birth. The world was repopulated again, but everyone remembered him in his stories. As a child with blonde hair and blue eyes with 3 whisker marks, wearing a modern-day uniform, closed his book as the period bell of the classroom rang out. "Well, that will be enough for today. You all will leave now. And Mr. Uzumaki, you are to stay here." Why? Well, the teacher blushed. She was a female in her 30s. "I have a lesson for you that I want to tell you." "What? You can tell me now, ma'am. I'm quite in a hurry." "Well, Mr. Uzumaki, you have to stay behind. I'm sorry." As everyone left, and she then locked the door. "What is it, miss? Why are you locking the door?" She then glommed him and kissed him down. She was similar to that of her appearance in Tsunade, but the only difference was that her hair was red. Naruto blushed at first, but then leaned into the kiss, as they then had sex. As then Naruto said, why was it that every female he came in close radius to loved him? Then he saw the statue that her teacher saw. "You might be the reincarnation of Naruto-sama, the first man ever born and to be loved by all, even today." "Eh?" Naruto said, as his life was about to be turned upside down as well, like his ancestor. As this is where I'm going to be leaving the story of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. If you like the content of this channel, I know it's quite different from my other stories because I wanted to change my content up a notch, like from fighting and other stuff to seriousness to just a romance fic. It's kind of that. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, as this is Apollo Uchiha and I'm signing off.